Well, good evening, everybody, and welcome back to Upper St. Clair High School, home of the Panthers. That's another boys volleyball night. It's Thursday, April 3rd, and this Upper St. Clair Panthers welcome to the gym tonight out of AA Section 3, the Leopards of Belle Vernon. You'll see them in the gold. Panthers in their red as usual. My name is Kevin McGahey doing the commentary tonight. My videographer is Brendan Fowler, and it's our pleasure to bring you tonight's match on Cable TV 7. If you've seen the other matches already that have been shown on Cable 7, you'll know the lineup is a familiar one. It's a young lineup for the Panthers. 2 seniors, 3 juniors, and a sophomore generally start. That sophomore is number 10, Troy Murphy. As time goes by here, I will get everybody in the game. There's Troy Murphy with a set back to Austin Everett off the hands of number 5, Aaron Mikula of the Leopards, and the Panthers draw first blood, which means they get the side out, and the serve of number 18, Pat Ty, the junior, will be doing the serving chores. It's a 1-0 early Panther lead. This is game number 1 of the usual best-of-5 match. You win a game, if the games go to 25, you win them by 2, and you get 3 of those, and everybody goes home happy. That's a service ace for Pat Ty. First one of the night. That must have fooled number 20. That was Tyler House for Belle Vernon. Belle Vernon comes in here packed with juniors and seniors, a lot of upperclassmen on the squad. We'll get those names here in just a minute. There's Pat Ty again with an easy serve picked up by number 10, John Naylor, and lofted back by, I think that's number 9, Mark Szymanski of the Leopards. Austin Everett into the net, and that gives a point and side out to the Leopards. 2-1 Panther lead early, game number 1. Number 1, by the way, over doing the serving for Belle Vernon. That's Jimmy McGavitt. He's a senior. It's all juniors and seniors for the Leopards. Overpass, but Troy Murphy handles it. Dug out of there by the Leopards. Tyler House lofting the ball over. There's the short set to Grant Bezic from Troy Murphy. Grant Bezic again off the Leopards tip. From the back row, doesn't quite make it over. That would count as a 4th hit. Didn't go quite far enough, had plenty of lift on it, but not enough to get it over the net, and that sends the side out. And serve over to number 10, that's a sophomore, Troy Murphy, with a jump serve, comes up a little low. You'll see this as the night goes along. If we're going to use jump serves, you can live and die by the jump serve. If you do a successful one, it's a really powerful tool. If you happen to get up in the air and the toss isn't right, you are in some trouble because it's a loss of control on the jump serve. 3-2 Panther lead. Troy Murphy with the set over to Austin Everett. Austin Everett with his 2nd kill of the night already. That was a nice slicing attack off the Troy Murphy set. 4-2 Panthers. Game number 1, best-of-5 match, and it's Austin Everett back to the back line again for the serve. Another short serve. A couple of gifts the Panthers have given already to Belle Vernon. It's a 4-3 Panther lead. Substitution on the Belle Vernon side. Number 3 is Troy Sneed. He's a junior. He's on the floor now for the Leopards. And number 10, John Naylor, senior, back to serve. Lofted over Zach Weber to Troy Murphy. Left side to Scott Perry for the slicing attack, and the first kill of the night for Scott Perry. You heard me, as always, announce Troy Murphy's name a lot. He's the setter. Most plays go through the setter. From the back row that's passed up front to the setter. Setter goes one side or the other to the hitter, who does just what Scott Perry did, and that's how the point is scored. Grant Bezic with the serve. You can play it. It's off the structure, but you can play it. Grant Bezic with a service ace. That just rolled off the back hands of Tyler. Well, the hands to the back of Tyler House. 2 service aces on the night for the Panthers, and Grant Bezic up again with the serve. Top spin serve handled by John Naylor. Gets to the net and an overpass, and Pat Ty takes care of that for his first kill for the night. At a 7-3 4-point Panther lead. Grant Bezic, the sophomore, continuing with the Panther serve. Lofted over nice and easy. Troy Sneed, sure indeed, finds a spot in the back left corner. Austin Everett, I'm sure, thought it was headed out of bounds. No such luck. It's a point for Belle Vernon. They're back within 3, 7-4 Panthers. Scott Perry, the pass up front. The set to Pat Ty. Didn't have a lot of power on it, but it found exactly the right spot. Pat Ty 2 kills already tonight, and here it's not how hard you hit him, it's where, and that's what Pat did. Sometimes power works, sometimes finesse works. Number 23 is up with the serve. That's Brett McCormick, the sophomore. Just lofted over by Jimmy McGavitt, number 1. Pat tie to Scott Perry. Not much he can do with it, and that'll be 4 hits. The set wasn't high enough, but just a shade close to the net. Scott Perry did not get a good look at it. Side out and serve over to Belle Vernon. Tyler House, number 20, wearing the libero jersey, the odd colored jersey. That means he can pretty much substitute as he pleases. Nice flat hard serve by Tyler. Scott Perry just so lofting it over, keeping it in play. There's a set, and Tyler House which pushes the ball over the net. No wave attack from the Pat tie into the Belle Vernon block. House back over again. Troy Murphy on the 2 ball did not fool the Leopards. But that time, Troy Murphy, who doesn't normally get a lot of kills because he's the main setter, wallops it off a leopard hand. That's a weird statement, isn't it? A leopard paw, a leopard hand, and out of bounds. Senior Scott Perry jumps up with that serve. There's the set, and so Troy Sneed, not much power, but he did get it over the net. Austin Everett, a little too much. He got in the weight room a little bit too much this week, lofts it way wide. And the Leopards stay close. It's a 9-6 Panther lead. Substitution, number 5, Aaron McCullough. Mikola, I think it is what it is. Back on the floor, he's a junior, and he takes up the serving chores. Troy Murphy back to Austin Everett, and wide again. Pretty decent sets. Austin's getting a good look at it, but he's getting under the ball a little bit. You want to come over the top and pound that ball down on the polyurethane within the white lines. It's going outside right now. They'll get that settled down. Scott Perry to Troy Murphy. Right side this time to Pat Tye into the Belle Vernon block and out of bounds. Pat Tye. 3 kills already on the night for Pat Tye, and he heads right back to the back line to serve. 3-point Panther lead at 10-7. Pat Tye to the back row, handled by Mark Szymanski. Over now, Brett McCormick to Troy Murphy. Back to Brett McCormick from the back row off a tip. And recovered nicely by Belle Vernon. Over on the one-hander by Aaron McCullough, and it goes sails way 7 feet long. Pat Tye gets to continue with that serve. 11-7, 4-point Panther lead. We're still in game number 1 of this best-of-5 match. The first powerful attack we've seen from Belle Vernon comes off the hands of John Naylor, tallest player on the team, a senior, and it's an 11-8 Panther lead. Belle Vernon hanging in there, trailing by 3. Zach Weber, our libero, back on number 15. Pat Tye taking a break. There's Zach Weber right there. Troy Murphy to Austin Everett. Comes right back and lands just out. That's a dangerous one. Thought Belle Vernon might have had a good look at that and placed it right inside the back corner. They did not. It sailed out of bounds. Back to a Panther serve, and it's sophomore Troy Murphy again. Direct serve right over the net. Troy House brings it up and lofted Austin Everett to the back row. Scott Perry banging it over the net. The Leopards from the back row. Aaron McCullough. Left side, Austin Everett finds the polyurethane that time. 3 kills of the night for Austin Everett. And the lead is up to 5, largest of the night for the Panthers so far. Troy Murphy once again with a serve. Jump serve this time and smack into the net. That's the second one Troy's tried. They've come up short both times. He's getting there. Next one's going to sail right over the net for an ace. You watch. 4-point Panther lead, 13-9. Tim Luciani, number 4, with the serve for Belle Vernon. Grant Bezic just tapping the ball over the net, and it fools the Leopards. Lands sort of right in the middle of the donut. A lot of guys around it, but nobody could head it back toward the net. And Grant Bezic with his first successful kill of the night, and it's junior Austin Everett. Back to the back line with the serve, and Rattle goes off the hands backwards, off the hands of Aaron McCullough. I imagine he just took his eye off it. But Austin Everett with a service ace. And now a 6-point Panther lead at 15-9. Game goes to 25. You have to win it by 2, and the successful team wins 3 of those. Just the easy little tap shot by John Naylor, the senior from Belle Vernon. Gets it over the front line. No Panthers backing that up. Point and side out to the Leopards. It's 15-10 Panthers. John Naylor to the back line with the serve. Just long by about 2 feet. That's really pretty good technique to loft that serve so it lands on that back line. It means the back row has to make a decision whether they're going to return or not. Many times you can get service ace points off of that. Didn't work out for Belle Vernon that time. And it's Grant Bezic, the sophomore, once again with the serve. Naylor to Kenny Dobosh, number 13. Not quite enough on it from Jimmy McGavitt. Wanted to push it back over the net, pushes it into the net instead, and the Panther lead is now 7 at 17-10. Grant Bezic with the serve. Belle Vernon does dig it out and gets it back. Troy Murphy to Pat Tye. Didn't think that ball was coming back, and John Naylor with the one hand lofts it way wide into the 5th row of the stands. Somebody's going to go home with a souvenir. Probably not that volleyball. 18-10, 8-point Panther lead. Grant Bezic again with the serve. Just over the net. It's a great technique if you could just serve that way every time. When it hits the tape, it's playable, and it does fool the defense. John Naylor with the left hand. Troy Murphy again. Pat Tye with a short set, but it did not make its way over. Pat had this set came up a little bit short. Pat got under it. Hit it into the tape in the top of the net, and that's a point for Belle Vernon. Side out, and Mark Szymanski with the serve. Troy Murphy digs that one out. Austin Everett over the net. That's tough to do when a pass goes into the net. Digging it out and keeping the ball playable. Brett McCormick into the Belle Vernon block and handled by the Leopards. Coming right back from Kenny Dobosh. Just didn't make it all the way. Well, lift called, I guess, but it would on the way back. Kenny Dobosh had that, but unsuccessful at getting the point. 8-point Panther lead again at 19-11. Brett McCormick serving it up. Overpass right to the net. And Mark Szymanski was ready for that. Troy House also a nice recovery to keep the ball in play. Scott Perry just dumping the ball over the net, but right into the Troy Sneed Belle Vernon block. Point for the Leopards. Side out, and the serve in the form of Tyler House again, the senior, number 20. Good serve again, but just long. Headed for that back line. About a 1.5 feet too long, and that service error sends it right back to the Panthers. Scott Perry, one of the 2 seniors on the squad. Zach Weber's the other. Scott Perry with the little hop serve. Over the tape of the net. That's what you like. That's what happens. It disrupts the flow of the ball when you can serve it over and hit that net like that. And it is playable and tough to return. They're 2 in a row. Scott seems to have learned the technique I was talking about just a minute ago, and that serve didn't come back. It's a 10-point Panther lead now here in game number 1, 22-12. Scott Perry again with the serve. That one must have had some action on it. It fell to the left of Tyler Perry. I think he was looking for it to come straight at him, and it must have curved off at the. If you send a knuckle serve across the way, here's the jump serve by Scott Perry. Recovered by Mark Szymanski, dug out of there. Austin Everett with the kill. This attack attempt sails it wide again. He's had 3 of those so far, but the point and side out go over to Belle Vernon. Aaron Mikula on the floor again for the serve, number 5. Just barely over the net. Austin Everett to Troy Murphy. Back to Austin Everett. Little short one just over the front line. And the joust at the net. Won by Austin. When the ball hook goes up, it comes right down on the net. You call it a joust because both players have an equal shot at it. They're not using lancers, they're using their hands. But it results in an easy point for somebody. Pat Tye Jr. serving the ball. Little backside spin on it, and some confusion at the Belle Vernon right side. And that ends game number 1. The Panthers come away with game number 1 of this best-of-5 match, 25-13. We'll play a couple of more of these. We'll be right back. We'll take a quick it'll only be microseconds for you. It'll be a quick 3-minute break for us. Stay with us, everybody. We'll be right back. We are back and set for game number 2 of this best-of-5 match between the homestanding Upper St. Clair Panthers boys volleyball and the Leopards of Belle Vernon from down the Monongahela, up the Monongahela River, I should say, over where the Monongahela crosses Interstate 70. And it's the same lineup we just had in game number 1 with one exception. That would be Clay Mucha, who we did not see in game number 1. He's number 11 in a junior on the floor for the Panthers. Somebody in the net gives the first point of game number 2 over to Belle Vernon, and Jimmy McGavitt, the senior, will step back and serve it up. And a little short. I hope he didn't do any damage to Mark Szymanski with that serve. I know Mark wasn't quite ready for that. It came up way short. That service error sends the serve right back to the Panthers and junior Pat Ty. Out of bounds. It must have gone outside the red and white antenna. The hit from Belle Vernon, the attempt rather from Belle Vernon's Mark Szymanski went outside the antenna. Called out. Point Panthers, and it's 2-1. Pat Ty continues with that serve. Nice hard serve, but handled by the Leopards and hoisted over by Tyler House. Brett McCormick, Troy Murphy, short set to Austin Everett, but it looks like John Naylor. Nope, looks like Austin. Somebody was in the net. Let's get it sorted out here just a minute. Could be both. Yes, it looks like both players were in the net. Both Austin Everett and John Naylor for the Leopards were in the net. It'll be a do-over. 2 thumbs up, and Pat Ty heads back to the back line with the serve. Spinning serve. John Naylor handles it. The set from Tim Luciani, the senior number 4, went actually over the net and was pounded right back by Austin Everett for his 5th kill of the night. And it's a 3-1 Panther lead, 2-point lead for the Panthers game number 2 of this best-of-5 match. They've already won game number 1. It takes 3 to win a match. John Naylor off the Panther block, handled by Scott Perry. And from the back line, it is Brett McCormick. If it goes in the structure, it is playable, and it is certainly being played. John Naylor for the Leopards again gets the ball over. Scott Perry to the front line. Troy Murphy to Clay Mucha. Set was a little bit low. Clay got, well, it wasn't enough to get even over the net. The Clay Mucha wallops it into the net. Point and side out for the Leopards. Tim Luciani with the serve for Belle Vernon. On the 2-ball, Troy Murphy sends it over, and it works. Mark Szymanski actually got it and hoisted it back up, but nobody from Belle Vernon was waiting to do anything else with it. So the second ball effort works for Troy Murphy, and he heads right back for the serve. That handcuffed Aaron McCullough, but then it does not get back over. Service ace for Troy Murphy. It just fooled Aaron. Came in a little high and went back over his head instead of back toward the front line. That's a better effort. But that now that overpass, that's the one. Those are the ones that are tough to dig out of that net. Kenny Dobosh, the senior number 13, had an attempt at dragging it out of the net, but you can't always do that. One more service ace for Troy Murphy. Knuckleball served. I'd hate to be in the position of returning those things. John Naylor just lofting the ball over the net. Scott Perry picks it up. Troy Murphy left side. Austin Everett with power. 6 kills in 2 games for Austin Everett, and it's a 5-point Panther lead at 7-2 here in game number 2. Troy Murphy has a nice run of points going on, 3 in a row right now. Let's see if we can get one more. Little top spin serve. And John Naylor pushing the ball back. Scott Perry, nice recovery. That could have gone over his head and landed for a point. Austin Everett with a good look at it, pounds it into the net. Excuse me, it sends it right back to Belle Vernon with a point and side out. John Naylor, the senior Leopard, with the serve, lofting it over. Scott Perry to Troy Murphy, right side this time to Austin Everett, into the Belle Vernon block. Scott Perry keeping it alive. Clay Mucha to the back row. Just long by maybe a foot and a half from Mark Szymanski, who had a pretty good look at it, but once again, he got under it instead of over it, and it sailed long and wide. 8-3, 5-point Panther lead. Austin Everett, the junior, with a serve. Into the net. Serving troubles for the Panthers tonight. They might have given away 8 or 9 points already on service errors. Keeping Belle Vernon in the match. 8-4 Panther lead. Mark Szymanski with the serve for Belle Vernon. Right side, Brett McCormick, but handled by John Naylor. Lofted right back over Troy Murphy. Timing was a little bit off. Clay Mucha was the intended receiver on that set. He jumped a little bit earlier, wasn't quite ready for the ball, and it's a point for the Leopards and side out. But not really side, it's just a point for the Panthers, Leopards. They were serving already. Scott Perry with power, and it comes right back. Lift called on Clay Mucha. He got under that ball like you would palm a basketball. Lift call, point for Belle Vernon. It's a 2-point Panther lead at 8-6. Zach Weber right back to Scott Perry. Lofts the ball over. Keeping it in play. Not much they could do with it. Off the St. Clair tip. That was Jimmy McGavin with that hit. And a nice soft one by Clay Mucha. First kill of the night for Clay. Again, it's not how hard you hit it. It's where. And that one went right into the empty spot in the middle, the donut hole. Clay Mucha back to the back line for the serve. With Panthers leading 9-6. Another short serve for St. Clair. I'm sure Clay wishes he had that one back. But it's a point and side out for Belle Vernon. Tyler House steps up for the Leopards with a serve. Nice topspin serve, handled nicely. Pat Ty fisting the ball over. Troy Murphy set went a little wide. Scott Perry had to really writhe for it. With his left hand, was not able to get the ball over the net, and the Leopards are back within 1 at 9-8. And with the serving gods taketh away, they giveth. That service there sends a side out and point over to the Panthers now. And who stepped? Brett McCormick. Looks like the junior, or sophomore Brett McCormick steps to the back row for serve. Couple of substitutions for the Panthers. We'll see number 9, sophomore Will Shea, and number 13, also a sophomore, Ben Richardson, enter the game for the Panthers. Austin Everett and Scott Perry, the senior, will take a quick break. I imagine we'll see them again later in the contest. Brett McCormick, meanwhile, with the serve. Fooled Mark Szymanski, but handled by Tyler House and John Naylor. With that ball right back, Troy Murphy with a nice recovery. Ben Richardson keeping the ball in. Belle Vernon from the back row. That's a pretty decent play, actually, if that lands on the back row. But it went about 1.5 feet long from Tyler House. Keeping the serve with the Panthers and a point. Another substitution for the Panthers. We see sophomore Matt Argento, number 26. He will take the place of Brett McCormick and get the serving chores. Matt Argento, number 26, with a serve. And lands it just a little bit wide by about 1.5 feet. It was close, but it did land out. Service error sends the side out and point over to Belle Vernon. Aaron McCullough with a serve, and that one's going to go long. Nice call by Matt Argento standing on the back line. But once again, if you can land a serve on the back line, that's a really valuable thing to do. But they keep going a little bit long for the Leopards. This is Ben Richardson, sophomore, with the St. Clair serve. Comes right back over, and Pat Ty to Troy Murphy right back to Pat Ty, and the block by senior John Naylor of the Leopards lands back on the St. Clair side. Very nicely done. Point for Belle Vernon. Side out and serve. Let's see who will be doing this. This is Jimmy McGavin. Senior and number 1 gets it over nicely. Zach Weber handles it. Troy Murphy with a very nice set to Will Shea. John Naylor just tapping the ball over. Recovered nicely, followed by the Panthers into the John Naylor block. He's become quite a factor here lately. Will Shea over the Naylor block that time. Yeah, that's good. That was a legitimate. That ball was headed over the net. and taken care of by the Panthers. Pat Ty heads back to the back line to serve. Yet another service error by the Panthers. I imagine I know what they're going to be working on next practice. That won't be tomorrow night, as we've got Montour coming to town tomorrow night for a match. That'll be Friday night, April 4th. Zach Weber to Troy Murphy. Did not fool the Leopards that time. John Naylor tries the same thing. Also did not fool the Panthers. Will Shea with a top spin ball over the net. Joust at the net, won that time by Belle Vernon's John Naylor. And suddenly the Leopards are back within one. It's a 13-12 Panther lead. Tim Luciani with the Belle Vernon serve. Troy Murphy to Clay Mucha. But brought out of there by the Leopards. Zach Weber this time to Troy Murphy. Will Shea on the left side into the John Naylor block. Back set to Naylor again. This one hits to the net and tapped over by Troy Murphy. And that time it works on the 2-ball. He made the Leopards move in a direction they didn't want to go. That's 3 kills on the night for Troy Murphy. Most of them on the second ball, not the third. And he goes right back to serve. 14-12, 2-point Panther lead. It's game number 2 of this best-of-5 match. Panthers already have 1 game in hand. Clay Mucha to Matt Argento from the right side. Off the wrist of Tyler House, but recovered by Aaron Mikula, but not that time. Heads backwards instead of forwards. Point for the Panthers, and Troy Murphy were once again with the serve. Little jump serve, top spin. John Naylor sends it right back over the net. Troy Murphy dug that one out. The left side. Mark Szymanski had a good look at it, but it lands about 4 feet long out of bounds. Nice. Panthers have a nice 4-point cushion back at 16-12. Troy Murphy again with that top spin serve. Set. John Naylor was ready to nail one, and the set came behind him instead of in front of him. Kenny Dobosh, the setter. What that basically meant is John Naylor had to reach behind him into his own court to try to get that ball, and the lift was called. And again, it's like palming a basketball. So far for the Panthers, Dawson Everett leads in kills with 6. Pat Ty in with 4. Troy Murphy 3. And 1 each for senior Scott Perry, junior Clay Mucha, and sophomore Grant Bezic. 8 service aces already in the match for the Panthers. 3 by Scott Perry, 2 by Troy Murphy, 1 each by Austin Everett, Pat Ty, and Grant Bezic. Not much other action to talk about. It's been kind of a slow-moving game. We haven't seen a lot of power. We've seen some pretty good defense. Both teams capable of keeping the ball off the floor. But we have not seen a lot of power hitting tonight. It's been more a finesse. It's been more a finesse game. Place the ball where you need it and gather up the points that way. It's a 17-12 5-point Panther lead. Troy Murphy still with that serve. John Naylor placed it well. Troy Murphy had took a good whack at it, but it sailed by him to the left. Side out and point for the Leopards. This is John Naylor, the senior, headed back to do the serving. Be nice to have him off the back line for a little bit. Maybe the Panthers can pile up a couple of points. Long serve, Zach Weber to Troy Murphy. The back set to Will Shea on the right side. Off the Belle Vernon block and out of bounds. Will Shea with his first kill of the night for the Panthers. They build a nice lead, the largest lead of game number 2. It's a 5-point lead now at 18-13. Will Shea with the serve, number 9. The sophomore just gets it over the net. Tyler House made a good dive for it, but Will Shea, another service ace for the Panthers. Another good serving technique is to land it at the feet of the back line if you could possibly do it. And Will Shea was a little punch serve. Comes up short, and once again, it's a gift point for Belle Vernon. The Panthers still have a pretty decent 5-point lead, 19-14. Mark Szymanski with the serve. Zach Weber moving to his right to come up with that ball. Ben Richardson just over the net, and once again, nice effort by Tyler House. but not enough to keep the ball in play and get it back over the net for a point. That goes over to the back to the Panthers, side out and point. Clay Mucha, the junior, number 11, with the Panther serve, leading 20-14. John Naylor from the back row, keeping the ball in play. Troy Murphy to Pat Ty, just getting it over the net with power. Mark Szymanski. There's Will Shea for the Panthers. Once again, that time it works even better. Troy Murphy with a lovely set. Pat Ty with a gorgeous finish and his fifth kill of the night. And it's a 7-point Panther lead at 21-14. That's exactly what you want. You hit 20 points, you want a nice little cushion to work with. From the back row, Mark Szymanski. Troy Murphy, Matt Argento, not much on it, just keeping the ball alive to fight another day. Left side, Ben Richardson, long by about 1.5 feet. Tyler House, number 20, the libero, will step up with the serve. Serving gods are not with either team tonight. Matt Argento, sophomore, with the St. Clair serve. Little confusion in the Belle Vernon back row. Mark Szymanski was the one responsible for hoisting it over, and he did that plus some, about excuse me, about 8 feet long. Point for the Panthers, and Matt Argento once again with a serve. Jimmy McGavitt for the Leopards had another pretty good look at it, but sailed it again long by 4 or 5 feet, and we're now at game point. 24-15 Panthers. You get to 25, you win them by 2, you win. Troy Sneed hoisting that one over. Pat Ty into the Troy Sneed block. Nicely done, Belle Vernon. Still alive in the game at 24-16 now. Belle Vernon with the side out and the serve to Aaron McCullough. And long, and that should finish it off. Serving kind of an issue for both squads here, but the Panthers do come away with game number 2 of this best-of-5 match. 25-16. They won the first one 25-13. It'll only be a couple of seconds for you. We'll take a quick 3-minute break and be right back for game number 3. Stay with us, everybody. Thanks for staying with us, everybody. It's Kevin McGahey here doing the announcing and Brendan Fowler at the camera. We're here for game number 3 of the best-of-5 match between the homestanding Panthers of Upper St. Clair and the visiting Leopards of Belle Vernon, a AA school out of Section 3. They've been game tonight. Nothing's been a blowout. They've been in each one of the 2 games of this match so far. The Panthers have virtually the same lineup they have had all night, with one exception. Kyle Shepner, number 25, the sophomore, is in the game, and the Leopards draw first blood. Zach Weber, the only senior, number 15, the libero, the only senior on the floor right now. Lots of sophomore. Everybody else is a sophomore. And there's Will Shea with a good look and sails it long. Needed to have a little bit of gravity assist that time. Didn't get it. And it's a 2-0 Belle Vernon lead. Game number 3. Ben Richardson with the ball back over the net. Grant Bezic. But the Leopards do recover. Double hit called. Yeah, Tyler House got underneath that thing. He probably should have put his wrists together and passed it that way, but he chose the finger method, and that was called a double hit. You could tell by the spin of the ball, and that's the Panthers' first point of game number 3. Grant Bezic steps to the back line and serves with top spin to the right side and just deked over the net. Handled by the Panthers. Brett McCormick lands in. Brett McCormick from the back row. Brett McCormick's first kill of the night. And then I know the Leopards thought that one was going to sail wide out of bounds. It did not, and it's a 2-2 game, all knotted up in game number 3. Grant Bezic sort of held up on the serve instead of following through with a full hit. He brought his arm back, held up, and that ball didn't even make it to the net, but that's all right. He'll be back for more. Belle Vernon with the serve, and that's what I was talking about previously. That's the decision the back row has to make when that serve comes in and paints the back line. And Brett McCormick thought that one was headed out. It was not. It landed about a foot in. Nice serve for the Leopards. And there it is off the net again. Recovered very nicely by Ben Richardson. Nice dig. Nice dig from Ben Richardson to keep the ball in play. When the ball ticks off the net, the timing is all off. Ben with a presence of mind to keep that ball going. That's a substitution here. Kyle Shepner goes out. And this will be Rob Senge, number 20, S-E-N-G-E. Rob Senge comes on with the left-handed Panther serve. Rob's a sophomore. Panthers with his youth movement have a ton of sophomores in this squad. 2 seniors, 3 juniors, and a mob of sophomores. There's one right there, Rob Senge. Another one, Will Shea off the net. Tyler House to Brett, basically passed to Brett McCormick. Brett McCormick knew exactly what to do with that. And it's 2 kills on the night for Brett McCormick, and game number 3 is all knotted up at 4. Ben Richardson again digging the ball off the floor. And enough that it confused Belle Vernon. I'm not know if I should give that a kill or not, but certainly Ben Richardson with a great effort to get into the floor to keep that ball in play. Well done, Ben. Rob Senge again with a left-handed serve, a little backspin on it. Not a great set to John Naylor, but he did get the ball over the net safely that time. And one of the Panthers in the net. Sorry, I wasn't watching to see which one it was. But the net violation sends a side out and point over to Belle Vernon. And it's a 5-5 game here in game number 3. Tim Luciani with the Belle Vernon serve. The overpass rescued there, though, by Zach Weber. Brett McCormick might have gone long, but chosen to be returned back by Jimmy McGavitt. John Naylor with sort of a twisting NBA-style return. Clay Mucha, nice recovery, and Brett McCormick. Nice return, but Brett was in the net. One more point for Belle Vernon. They have the lead 6-5. Zach Weber to Rob Senge doing the setting chores now to Clay Mucha. Clay Mucha, 2 kills tonight, and the game is tied at 6. Coach Zebo doing some help, giving Rob Senge a little guidance there on what to do with that set to make sure it doesn't get called anything. Will Shea looks like he may be stepping back for a jump serve. That's sort of a punch serve instead, not a full jump serve. That set again, or the timing is a little off. Naylor's headed to the net, but the set is coming behind him by Kenny Dobosh, and it's called for a lift again. That's happened already. Naylor seems to have some talent here, but not getting the sets he needs. And serving continues to be a nightmare for the Panthers. 7-7 game, all tied up. We're in game number 3. Panthers already with 2 games in hand at 25-13, 25-16. And the senior Naylor for Belle Vernon back to the back line to serve. Ben Richardson with a kill. It looks like the Belle Vernon people thought it was going to go out. It might have, but it was still a pretty good choice for Jimmy McGavitt to have played it. It's one of those, you know, if you let it go, it's embarrassing because it lands in. If you hit it, well, at least you got a shot to keep it in play. It did not stay in play. Point and side out to the Panthers. That was Clay Mucha with the serve. John Naylor with a back row attack, sails it about 5 feet long. Serve stays with the Panthers, Clay Mucha, and the Panthers have built a 2-point lead at 9-7. Little topspin punch serve by Clay. Back set to Troy Sneed. Little timing problem between Rob Senge and Grant Bezic. Grant was ready to pulverize the ball, and the set came up a little in front of where Grant needed to be. But a net violation keeps that point with the Panthers. Clay Mucha, a little short in the serve again. That net is 8 feet. The top of that net is 8 feet off the ground. That one was about 6 feet 10. Mark Szymanski. Rob Senge with the set. Brett McCormick. That was off a tip. It changed direction and fooled Kenny Dobosh. But Brett McCormick with the push kill off a Belle Vernon arm out of bounds, and it's a point again for the Panthers and sophomore Brett McCormick Back again with the serve, legitimate jump serve this time, right off the net. You see how it fools everybody, especially one with topspin and power. Brett McCormick with his first service ace of the night. That's 7 different players with aces tonight. Brett McCormick again with a jump serve. Lands down that back line. I've told you that all night long. That's a very, very good serve. The back line of the receiving team really doesn't know what to do with it. And that time it landed right on the line in for another ace for Brett McCormick. Jump serve again. That comes up short. 4-point Panther lead at 13-9. This is game number 3. Panthers win this. We all go home happy and early. But we'll see what Tyler House from Belle Vernon has to say about that. Once again, same deal. Serve it to the back line. Brett McCormick had no idea what to do with it. One of his teammates called out, but it probably would have landed in. Ace for Tyler House and point for Belle Vernon. It's 13-10 Panthers. Ben Richardson just pushing the ball over the net, and indeed it comes back. Nicely done by Belle Vernon, but they shoved it just wide. Side out, point Panthers, and Ben Richardson, the sophomore, number 13, will handle the serve. Nicely done. Tyler House handles it, but it's headed backwards, the wrong direction. Thought maybe Tim Luciani would get to that one and put it toward the front row. That did not happen. Point for the Panthers and Ben Richardson, and it's a 5-point Panther lead at 15-10. Tyler Sneed with 2 tries at it that time. Grant Bezic with the kill off the Kyle Shepner set. And that's really how it would be done. Too much power for Belle Vernon. Off a couple of hands and out of bounds over the back line. And the Panthers have their largest lead of game number 3. It is 16-10. Ben Richardson still serving. Tyler Sneed just over the front line. Kyle Shepner to Grant Bezic off the hand of Mark Szymanski. Grant Bezic with 3 kills tonight. And that's a 7-point Panther lead at 17-10. Substitution for Belle Vernon. Brian Fisher, number 11, is senior on the floor. Jimmy McGavitt will take a quick break here. Seven-point Panther lead. Ben Richardson still serving. Nice topspin serve. Tyler House pops it up in the air. Comes right back by Brian Fisher, newly in the game. Left side, Will Shea off the net, and John Naylor digs it off the floor, but fools the rest of the Belle Vernon team. Will Shea, 2 kills in tonight's game. Ben Richardson has a nice run of serves going here. It's 18-10 Panthers, 8-point lead. Tyler House. Pretty nice set, but Troy Sneed actually got into the net. And a little Troy Sneed didn't really have a good look at it. When it gets into the net like that, very tough to dig out. And Ben Richardson again with that sidewinder serve. From the left side, Brian Fisher outside the antenna. That's called out. It's got to go between the 2 red and white antennas. And quite suddenly here, the Panthers have built themselves a nice 10-point lead at 20-point territory. There's Troy Sneed and had a good look at it. Sails long off of the St. Clair tip. That's why it popped up in the air like that. Off of St. Clair tip and over the back line. Point for the Leopards. Troy Sneed, junior number 3, doing the serving. Goes way long. Got to get him out of the weight room. That went about 4 feet long. Service there sends a side out and point over to the Panthers. Aaron McCullough is back on the floor for Belle Vernon. Grant Bezic, sophomore number 24, with the St. Clair serve. John Naylor into the Clay Mucha block, and that is the first block we've seen tonight for a point, and it comes off the hands of Clay Mucha. Panthers have doubled up Belle Vernon here in game number 3. It's 22-11. Grant Bezic again with a top spin serve. John Naylor with power that time. That's right off of Clay Mucha's hands. That's what the Belle Vernon wanted to do the first time. 1 point ago, but Clay Mucha took care of business with the block. 22-12, 10-point Panther lead. Sidewinder of a serve. Kyle Shepner and Brett McCormick from the back row. Set in front of John Naylor, couldn't put any power on it, and the same problem for the Panthers. Lift call. That set, Will Shea was standing in one place, the set went another. Will had to reach for it. He actually got it over the net, but a lift called as he got his hand way under the ball. Point for Belle Vernon, 22-13, 9-point Panther lead. More timing issues between the setter and Clay Mucha. Clay was ready to wallop that ball again, but the set came up a little behind him. Still a pretty good cushion for the Panthers, 22-14. Zach Weber let that one go. John Naylor for Belle Vernon put it right back in the right corner inside the line. Point for Leopards, and they're back within 7. Brett McCormick with a top spin back row attack. Fooled Aaron Mikula and Brett McCormick. 4 kills on the night. The Panthers now 2 points from victory here in game number 3. Substitution Rob Senge, the sophomore, back on the floor for St. Clair. And first time we've seen number 18 junior Casey Giles tonight. He substitutes for Belle Vernon. 23-15, 8-point Panther lead. Rob Senge that left-hand backspin serve, but handled nicely by Belle Vernon. Ben Richardson to Rob Senge doing the setting to Brett McCormick. Sails it along, no tap, no tip. Point to Belle Vernon, still hanging in there within 7, 23-16. Leopards with the serve and off the hands of Tim Luciani. Nice high serve, gathered ice crystals on the way down, and Will Shea just taps it over the net. Panthers all jammed up in the front row. Nobody watching the back line. All Belle Vernon has to do is pop one toward that back line, and that will probably result in a point. 6-point Panther lead, 23-17 rather. Short set, Clay Mucha off the John Naylor block and out of bounds. And that puts the Panthers in very nice territory now. It is match point. Well, actually 7 match points, because Belle Vernon will have to score the next 7 in a row to send this one to overtime. Extra points to come up with a win. But Will Shea, another short serve. Coach Zebo's got some work to do on the serving, we can see, but it's still a nice Panther cushion. 24-18. Troy Sneed substitutes back in here at another match point. Belle Vernon with the serve, but the receiving team has the advantage to do a classic bump, set, attack just like that, and out of bounds. Brett McCormick finishes things off for the Panthers with his 5th kill of the night, and that will do it as the Panthers win in 3, 25-13, 25-16, and 25-18. Sends the home crowd home happy and early. Well, my name's Kevin McGahey. We're glad you were with us all night long tonight. My videographer was Brendan Fowler. We're glad you watched us on the Upper St. Clair Cable 7, and please tune in again for more matches of boys volleyball as the season progresses on Upper St. Clair Cable 7. Thanks for watching, everybody, and good night.